Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about adrenal fatigue and burnout. It's definitely something that is very common in perimenopause and menopause. So, wanted to take the time to dive into this topic some more. I've been talking about it all week on my reels and on my posts, but wanted to go ahead and do a live with you all here to talk some more about this. So, I'm Dr. Nicole Smith. I'm the founder of Antigravity Wellness. And this is something that this topic of adrenal fatigue, it affects so many women. And often we get brushed aside or ignored for what we're experiencing. So if you've ever thought, why am I so tired all the time, even when I sleep, this talk is for you. So first of all, quick medical disclaimer. Presentation is for educational purposes only. It is not medical advice. Always consult with your healthcare provider before starting or stopping any medications, supplements, or healthcare strategies. So let me start by talking about who I am. I'm Dr. Nicole Smith, the founder of Antigravity Wellness. I have a doctorate of nursing practice. I'm board certified in family practice and orthopedics. I'm also a certified personal trainer. I founded Antigravity Wellness a little over 3 years ago and started to really move towards more specializing in women's care, especially perimenopause and menopausal care, because there's such a huge need and such a big gap. And I personally experienced that when I was starting to go through some changes. I noticed some symptoms in my early 30s that were not my norm. And I went to my regular doctor. I went to an OBGYN, and they ran the basic blood work and said everything looked fine, but I wasn't fine. I was so tired. It was dangerous for me to drive. And yes, I was working very hard. I was going to school. I was working on my first bodybuilding competition prep. And I was also still working part-time. And also I was a TA. And turns out my relationship at home was falling apart. So I had a lot of stress, no doubt. But I was also having just these crazy hormonal fluctuations as well that were causing some problems. So at that time, I got diagnosed with adrenal fatigue, and we're talking about my early 30s. So this can come in at any time. You don't have to be in perimenopause to be experiencing adrenal fatigue, but it definitely gets worse when we get older. So over the age of 35, our adrenals don't adapt as well, and we start to have more symptoms of that. So that fatigue that is just debilitating. It doesn't matter how much you sleep. You don't feel rested when you wake up in the morning. There can be other things that are going on there, but this is one of the more common ones that can happen. And we'll be able to like map your cortisol perfectly with how you're feeling during the day. So if you notice that, you do okay in the morning, but then you slump in the afternoon, and then you're tired but wired in the evening, that's typically what we call stage 1 adrenal fatigue. Stage 2, we have more of a flattened curve. So all day long, you just feel kind of like, ugh, and you just never can really get going. You need caffeine all day. And then stage 3, you are flatlined, just about diagnosable, and of course we want to rule out not Hashimoto's. We want to rule out Cushing's or Addison's disease processes, but when we're not technically diagnosable with those, what do we do? Because we're still having problems. And an endocrinologist isn't going to treat that, but that's where a functional medicine doctor like myself comes in, and we can say, okay, so you're not optimized. What can we do to help your body recover from this? Diet, lifestyle, and even some supplements to see how we can get this all reversed. So that is something that I have I'm really passionate about and specialized in my practice. So what is Antigravity Wellness? We're a virtual hormone clinic for women in their 30s, 40s, and beyond. We do telemedicine for residents in Washington, Oregon State. We're looking to expand into other states as well. You do advanced functional lab testing, blood work, deeper blood work than your typical primary care doctor does. Dutch testing, which is dried urine testing, and that shows us the sex hormones and the pathways that they go down. Are you metabolizing in a good way or in a bad way? Are you methylating properly? So basically, think about it as a sink. When you make estrogen, you fill up the sink and it needs to drain, right? because we need to make more estrogen. Well, if we're not draining the sink properly, if that gets backed up, then you know what a mess that can make. Well, that can happen in your body too. So we need to make sure that our detoxification pathways are working properly so that the sink doesn't get backed up. And that's just one of the many examples of like the methylation pathway. The Dutch test also looks at our cortisol pattern. So we can see the diurnal pattern of our cortisol, which means our morning when it's supposed to come up, and then it's supposed to gradually go down, but still keep you awake in the afternoon, and then have a nice decrease during the evening time. And if we're not in that normal rhythm, we're going to have symptoms. We're going to have fatigue. We're going to have tired but wired. And you're going to have a really hard time recovering from that if we don't address that properly. So I'm going to start with a story. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. We're going to start with a story here. This is a case study, changing the name to protect the privacy of the person. So we'll call her Sarah. Sarah's a mom of two busy children, and she's also got a full-time job. She was sleeping 8 hours a night, doing what she's supposed to, but every morning she woke up exhausted. By mid-afternoon, she was craving sugar, and by evening, she was running on caffeine and willpower. And then she needed wine to get her to sleep because she couldn't sleep after that, even though she's exhausted. Raise your hand if that sounds familiar. So she went to her doctor, and her labs came back normal, but she didn't feel good. And so they told her, there's nothing we can do for you. So what is happening? Sarah was showing classic signs of adrenal fatigue and burnout. And she's not alone. I hear this story all the time. So what are adrenals? Your adrenal glands are two small glands that sit on the top of your kidneys. So your kidneys are actually back here, and they sit on top of your kidneys. They may be tiny, but they do really big jobs. They make hormones like cortisol and adrenaline that control your stress response, help you wake up, regulate your blood sugar, and even keep your blood pressure steady. So in short, your adrenals are your body's built-in stress managers. So what is adrenal fatigue? When stress is short term, the adrenals, they can handle it. That's what they're built for. For example, if a car swerves in front of you, almost clips the front of your car, your adrenals release adrenaline so you can quickly react. That's why they're supposed to work. But when stress is constant, and think about things from like deadlines, lack of sleep, too much caffeine, over exercising, under exercising, hormonal imbalances, the adrenals stay on all the time. Over time, they get tired. This is what we call adrenal fatigue and burnout. So symptoms that we're looking for that can be correlated with this: constant fatigue, even after sleeping, brain fog, craving for sugar or salt. Salt is a really big one. Feeling tired but wired at night, needing coffee just to function. Does this sound familiar? Anybody? Raise their hand if that sounds familiar to you. So let's talk about how stress impacts your body. I like to explain it with the stress bucket. Imagine all of your stressors as water pouring into a bucket. Work, family, poor diet, not enough rest, over or under exercising. At first, your adrenals are able to keep up. They're like the drain at the bottom. But if you keep adding stress and never let the bucket empty, it eventually overflows. That's when burnout hits. So let's talk about what we can do about this. Step one is food. It's always one of our step ones, aside from sleep, right? So one of the most powerful ways to help your adrenals is through food. When you eat lots of sugar or you skip meals, your blood sugar spikes and then crashes. Every crash forces your adrenals to pump out cortisol to rescue you. Instead, build meals with protein, healthy fats, and fiber-rich carbs. For example, do chicken, rice, broccoli, and avocado. Or breakfast, we can do eggs with whole grain and berries. Balanced meals equals steady energy equals less stress on your adrenals. Step 2, we want to reset in the morning. Your adrenals release cortisol naturally in the morning to help you wake up. But our modern habits, such as grabbing your phone, downing coffee before drinking any water, confuse this rhythm. So here's the reset. Within 30 minutes of waking, go outside. Just 5 to 10 minutes of some natural light tells your brain it is morning. Pair that with gentle stretching or a short walk, and you'll feel more awake now and sleep better at night. If, let's say, because it's starting to, we're getting into fall and into winter, and we're not going to have that sunlight in the morning, right? So what do? Those happy lights, those actually do work because it stimulates the brain. It's the full spectrum light. It's going to get in there and tell the brain it is daylight. So that really does actually work. It helps to reset those receptors. And it also helps with things like seasonal depression, which is light related. If anyone suffers from that. Okay, step 3, protect your sleep. It's your job. Sleep is the adrenal repair time. But if you keep lying in bed, scrolling, or watching TV, your brain thinks it's still daytime. Blue light. It's a real thing, guys. And your adrenals keep pumping out stress hormones, and it also suppresses your melatonin, which is the hormone that we need to go to sleep. It's also a very potent antioxidant. And those on night shift, we think that's part of why their risk for cancer goes up. It's because their melatonin is low. So here's what helps. No screens 1 hour before bed. Oh, I know. I'll leave you on TikTok. Dim your lights. Sip some calming tea like chamomile. It really does have properties in there that help you to relax and help your adrenals relax. Keep your room cool and dark. We're not watching TV in bed, guys. Want to stick to a consistent bedtime and wake time, even on the weekends, because you can get kind of like a jet lag. It's social weekend lag if you are having a completely different sleep-wake cycle on the weekends than you do during the weekdays. As close as you can get. I know, like, for example, my husband, he works 12s Monday through Thursday. Well, 10s, but 12s with the commute, right? And he gets up at like 4 a.m. He's not doing that on weekends, obviously. So we just do the best we can. Step 4, cut back on caffeine. I know. Coffee lovers. I'm a coffee lover too. But here's the truth. Coffee doesn't give you energy. It actually borrows it. Caffeine forces your adrenals to release stress hormones. That gives a quick boost, but then comes the crash. And over time, your adrenals get weaker. They get kind of just like, I'm done with you. I'm not gonna do this anymore. It's actually your brain that tells your adrenals to pump out more. And your brain goes, I'm over you. I'm over this. Like this constant stress. We're not doing this anymore. So instead, you can start small. Replace 1 cup with green tea or an herbal tea like holy basil. Green tea is great because it's high in L-theanine, and holy basil is also a really great option. Both of those are very soothing to your adrenals. They're adrenal adaptogens, so it can help with that type of thing. So you get smoother energy without burning out your adrenals. And guess what? If you're tired, rest. Listen to your body. We're not very good at that, are we, ladies? So step number 5 is stress reset practices. Stress is unavoidable, but if you never reset, your adrenals will pay the price. So one of my favorite tools to use is box breathing. So we can do it together right now. So here we go. Ready? If you're not driving, put your hand on your heart and hand on your belly. You're going to inhale for 4 through the nose. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Hold for 4. You can repeat that as many times as you like, up to 3 minutes. You'll notice that your whole body will just calm down. These little breaks tell your nervous system it's safe and your adrenals get a rest. Step number 6, we're going to feed your adrenals when they're stressed out. So when you're stressed, your adrenals use up vitamins and minerals faster. Without enough of these, they can't make the hormones you need for energy and balance. So top nutrients, we have vitamin C, oranges, berries, and peppers. B vitamins and magnesium. So we have leafy greens, beans, and oats. Zinc is great, really great for women, has pumpkin seeds and cashews are really high in zinc. And then protein, things like eggs, chicken, fish, tofu, lentils. Think of these as fuel for your adrenals. All right. So step number 7 is hydration. Dehydration is stress on the body. Even 2% dehydration, which is usually not enough to even trigger your thirst response, is enough to start slowing down your brain, causing brain fog and slower reaction time. It doesn't take much. Your adrenals sense this and pump more cortisol to compensate. So here's a simple rule. Drink half your body weight in ounces of water each day. So if you weigh 160 pounds, that's about 80 ounces a day. For women, I like to tell them to aim for at least 2, upwards of 4 liters per day. In summertime, you want to drink more. In winter, you can probably get away with drinking a little bit less, but it depends on your activity level. And also what's in your food. So in winter, we tend to go for more like soups and stews and things like that. So we're getting more fluid in our foods. Summertime, if you're doing a lot of fruit or watermelon, things like that, cantaloupe, that has a lot more water content in it. So water comes from your food as well. But we need to make sure we're monitoring that, having our water. People are usually a lot better about that nowadays. Everyone's got their not Nalgene, but their water bottle with them all the time. And then adding electrolytes, you can also do that for balance because if you have any like magnesium, potassium, or sodium deficiency in there, drinking too much plain water can actually dilute things even further. So it's good to keep an eye on that. If you have any muscle cramps, it might be worthwhile to try a little bit, like half a serving of electrolyte powder in there to see if that helps. All right, so I'm going to share another story with you. We're going to call her Maria. She's a 42-year-old teacher. She came to me completely exhausted. She was drinking a pot of coffee a day and craving sugar every night, snacking uncontrollably, skipping breakfast. Skipping breakfast, not hungry, and then wondering why she is overeating at night, but she doesn't feel like she's eating a whole lot, but she's still gaining weight, right? Does that sound familiar? So we started with simple steps. We added more protein at breakfast, actually having her eat a breakfast, and started with a shake that she could kind of slowly sip on, slowly cutting back on the caffeine, swapping for half calf, doing more green tea, especially in the afternoon when she kind of felt like she needed a little bit extra. So she would have still something, but not totally relying on caffeine like she was before. And then adding a really good bedtime routine, completely unwinding, doing some stretching, and putting down the phone, not doom scrolling all night, trying to like avoid things because sleep is really the number one thing. So after just 3 weeks, her afternoon crashes were just about completely gone. She's feeling so much better. After 2 months, she didn't need her daily candy bar anymore. Got her off of that. She thought it was just like part of her thing, but turns out it was making things worse. And by 3 months, her energy was steady, her brain was clear, and she was back to exercising, which is amazing. So she felt so much better on so many different levels. She didn't need more willpower. She needed to support her adrenaline, her adrenals. So here are your next steps. If you are feeling tired, foggy, or stuck in survival mode, here's what to do next. I have a free adrenal recovery guide. If you go to any of the posts that we've been doing this last week and comment adrenal recovery, you're going to get the guide. And that will walk you through all of the tips we talked about here today and then some, and kind of talk to you more about what adrenal fatigue is. Now, adrenal fatigue, yes, is a kind of a layman's term. It's not technically adrenal fatigue because the adrenals don't technically fatigue, but it is adrenal adaptation. So we do see adaptation there that results in symptoms. So you can also join the 5-day hormone reset mini course if you want to get more into things and really jumpstart your hormone health. And then if you want to learn more about my practice and how we run things, and if you're qualified to be a patient of ours, if you live in Washington, Oregon State, then you can comment hormone harmony or hormone help, hormone help, and that will get you the link to book that. Go through a questionnaire to see if you qualify, and then we get you to book a call with my patient care coordinator, and she'll walk you through that, what that looks like. So if you want more help, you need a hormone specialist, that's what I do. I'm not a primary care doctor. I'm a nurse practitioner, and I specialize in women's hormone health, and I would love to be able to help you. All right, for those of you who are watching on Facebook and YouTube, you have the QR codes there. For those of you on TikTok, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, you can comment adrenal recovery or hormone help to get those adrenal recovery to get the free guide, hormone help if you want specifically to learn more about my clinic, and if you're qualified to be a patient, if that would be a good fit for you. We love my team, and I would love to talk to you some more. All right, so thank you so much for joining me today, everyone. Your adrenals may be small, but they have a really big impact on your health, your energy, and your ability to handle stress. With the right steps, you can go from burnout back to balance and feel like yourself again. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I hope you leave today with simple tools to start your own adrenal recovery.